Welcome, welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D collective. We began our day with a couple of shorts as our golden egg continues to share with us messages. And if you're new, you can tune in to a couple and or more episodes. In the meantime, I'm going to start first by reading to you and then we'll see what happens. Oh, securely attached people who are non-traumatized are going to be enjoying this content because I'm an empowering human voice who chose love. That's why we are the elite tier of emotional invincibility. It's not magical though, although I'm a mystic, yes, spiritual, mindful, and I do channel and download, and so I do believe in miracles, but science can also explain to you a lot of things. So the flow state, neuroscientists explain it to you. Smart human beings also let you know what a securely attached, non-traumatized person who's self-led, it means I can regulate Maria even when I'm in the room with a siren, and they are not energy vampires. They're just fancy men and women in suit who actually don't think that a secure attachment people, yes, they're not some elite tier of emotional invincibility because secure people aren't immune to anxiety. We are emotionally invincible. We're not immune to anxiety. No, my panic attacks gave me plenty of practice. You better bet, though, that when honesty is met with evasion, warmth answered with coldness, and emotional bids are ignored, I don't doubt myself. No person who's securely attached will doubt themselves. We also won't crumble and become, some crying, insecure human being, meaning that we will cry because that's about connection, so that's normal. But we won't be like, oh my God, I need to change myself. You let him get away. Who? He wasn't my dog. So we know that we are not in a relationship when we're met with evasion, coldness, and basically what people like to call breadcrumbs. I mean, really, I give my love freely. I'm securely attached. I'm not expecting any bread. I actually have my own way of making my bread. I got 2 hands, 2 feet, and God gave me this thing called Jesus, Holy Spirit, and Him, and then I got to become a mystic too, and know doesn't matter how you speak. Those who don't like confidence are always going to look at me as an egoic bitch. I at least have the capacity to say, Gary B, man, you're awesome. I wouldn't have explained anything about your luck. Let people who are lazy be lazy. So I like to let you know I'm not in favor of anybody who's ignoring their inner child. I'm a functional child adult, and I'm a perfectionist who becomes irritable and frustrated when I'm exhausted, but I don't really get exhausted. And because I'm a 2, I'm also pushy and demanding, but I've learned how to moderate that because I'm also an 8, which is withdrawn and quiet, which is my favorite time to be with Maria as I get to contemplate what is it when someone is evading me cold and pretending to give me little breadcrumbs. I just know I'm not in a relationship. There's not a lover in front of me. What I have is definitely a safety behavior, a closed, fearful heart, and most of all, they're not tending to their stuff, and therefore they don't really want me. And I am emotionally invincible because emotions, we all have them. And you know how to use your ventral vagal state because that's the power of the lion and the tiger. And the deer, it's all feminine. It's only feminine. Mine's not in it yet. Masculines come after for the feminine. I'm an empowered feminine. And actually, what's a sad story is that because the destructive mode has these human beings who are masculines and not empowered think they're brilliant. Yeah, no, not really. But again, they will like to say secure people aren't immune to anxiety. They're not some elite tier of emotional invincibility. They just started with a solid foundation. But when that foundation is shaken repeatedly, when they're left questioning where they stand day after day. I love when they describe this. These are people who are not securely attached. This is why you can tell that it's like the fancy lady in her suit. They begin to spiral. That's how avoidant behavior manufactures anxiety, not in a malicious way. No, not in a planned way. We know that. But as a consequence of emotional self-protection. It's a good thing I don't spiral down in hell when I meet an avoidant or an anxious. The anxious, let me tell you about anxious and, ambivalent they are, or disorganized. So I've met all of the attachment categories, which is why I'm like, yeah, secure attachment, don't spiral in no self-doubt. I don't have a person in front of me. I got some trauma time. If you tune in to yesterday's episodes, you'll notice. So that's what an empowered feminine can tell you. It don't matter if it's a twin flame, a soulmate. I'm going to know as a securely attached, self-led, in my case, 5D mystic, enlightenment, soul age group, functional child adult, that when I notice inconsistency, it's fear. And I have not a life partner, because a person and or partners and or life people in general, this is not only romantic, it's a person who doesn't have what it takes, because you're not physically mastered to tend to your mental and emotional mastery, and you don't want it. If you wanted it, then you would take the mental activity and the emotional both together, and emotions are first, so your body, you take it seriously, and you would become the master of the lion that you can be, and the master of the tiger. Tiger is about darkness and that empowered feminine. So mindfulness practitioner is what I am. You can do mindset skills here, otherwise you're not ready for self-help, personal development, or spiritual development or growth, because you haven't even gained access to that which you are yet. You can't access your physical self if it's not whole. And so when people are 4D, 3D brothers and sisters in fear, they're using their amygdala as they channel and download. And you can totally tell, because they have a small window of tolerance, and they dissociate clinically, not just figure of speech. So that being said, again, what other people say about us doesn't matter. We will have integrity. Who's that? The truly intelligent mind, who does not get influenced by our memory or diluted by our imagination. Implicit, explicit memory, got it. My panic attacks gave me plenty of practice to let you know, again, invincible, yes, because I don't doubt myself. I know what I bring to the table. And when I'm dealing with quote unquote incompetent people and feeling unappreciated, I will not be held back in any way because I'm a go-getter of Maria's life. And that's how it works when you are a healthy, self-worth, securely attached, higher self-led human being. As a teenager, I said to teenage boyfriend my third time, dude, make up your mind. This isn't that difficult. And when they said you let him get away, I said, who, my dog? He wasn't my dog. I didn't have him on a leash. It's called a relationship, because nobody's going to be a ball and chain. You better bet that. Sluggish or passive aggressive, they're not interesting, and passive aggressive, as Janina Fisher points out, isn't. And in fact, an empowered feminine will know it, which is why when I meet a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old and a 16-year-old, it's not a brilliant mind, it's a destructive mode, and it's unfortunate business of a safety behavior. Again, honesty met with evasion, warmth met with coldness. We won't be like, I'm doubting me. Nope, I see me right here. So the elite tier of emotional invincibility, have mental, emotional, and physical mastery. Welcome aboard to my lovely 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, and mindfully living, loving people who are being their true self. Because I'm sure in the 7 minutes we had some people drop off, which is fine, because they have plenty of 4D, 3D to go follow and prance around in fancy suits and be starfish with no horse. Remember, we talked about that one. Okay, so as the lion, you are a complete master of your self-transformation and the fire element. So you pursue personal and spiritual growth. You do this with the epitome of peace and strength, thanks to the tiger, your body, mind, heart, self, anchored in ventral energy with an engaged ventral vagal state. Okay, so I bring the human elements to the spiritual elements and tell you about my spirituality, subjective experiences, and then I also bring sciences and spirituality, but I'm the woo-woo pseudoscience lady, okay, and podcast host. So it's something that I like to explain. I respect sciences, and like Sam Harris says, all of my cherishable beliefs, God, I love you, could be falsifiable. So in the meantime, the feminine is who's going through right now her lovely phoenix, as life reminds her not to get sluggish. Okay, so we're going to get to that part. And you are the actual deer. That's why it's a very, very strong trio that you got going on. Okay, so your ease in darkness, your mastery over your feminine energy and the lunar force, your ability to think and feel with ease, that's because you have access to your right mode. With the left mode, they work together. It's an integrated brain. Your default mode network is downregulated. I'm attachment trauma educated. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Okay, so prefrontal cortex workout. That's a securely attached, self-led person who's ready to do mindfulness. Focused attention in the umph of darkness. I have no issue with Maria's solo time because I also have kind intention. Thanks, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. Oh, remember, I'm a co-author of the book The Ways to God, which is being published June 28th. My chapter is titled God is Discerning Equanimous Love. What this lovely lunar force. So your ability to think and feel with ease, compassion, discernment, and equanimity have you fearing nothing, because, you know, in yourself, you're not afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not a 0-8-year-old codependent Maria. Luckily, I got to mature, but I'm still the same perfectionist with my imperfections. That's why the unconditionally loving, flaws and imperfection voice right here, integrity. We know what it means to be a securely attached, self-led, whether you are mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving person. Again, you're the tier of elite tier. Start using it. Go around being, I'm a elite tier. No, don't do it, because they don't believe you. They think you're pretending to not suffer. Again, people don't understand how to use their prefrontal like the Zen master. He has laundry. With this inner emotional and mental balance, you are passionate, strong, and soothed from within, and are using healthy self-soothing ways. So you don't, again, treat your body like a piece of shit, or your mind, because you're tending to the first thing, your heart. You are an inner child, so am I. You're the functional child adult. You don't need Patrick Tan, okay? Otherwise, we're going to maybe review that later, but there's a short that I did yesterday where I told you he has this beautiful thing. He says, let me reframe. Let me grab it just so that I can read his reframe at the very bare minimum, and then you can find the episode if you want. His reframe, actually I have it right here. His reframe was this. He says, your parents did the best that they could, and he says, at avoiding the responsibility and emotional labor of their job. And I said an additional reframe to Patrick Tan's post is that parents avoiding the responsibility and emotional labor of their job, in addition to those people, there are numerous people overall, mystic, spiritual, all of them, the 4D3D collective, who are not securely attached or healing themselves with good therapists, that are avoiding their job and emotional labor as people in a world with children and securely attached, non-traumatized. I'm a non-traumatized person. So when I hear they're not invincible, I know who they're helping, the fancy men and women in suit, the people who don't want to go to therapy and they're going to continue performing. In fact, that's the whole point. They perform and think we are not invincible. We are invincible because we're not pretending to love ourselves first. We actually are ourselves and love ourselves. This is the logic and genuine right here. You're going to be an egoic bitch. Don't matter, man, woman, day. If you're authentic, you're not trying to. Love you, Gary V. Love you, Terry Real, Patrick Chan. Love you, man. Love all of you. Janina Fisher, everyone who knows the importance of therapy and being authentic and transparent. So everyone can take emotional and mental responsibility seriously and stop projecting and living out their trauma into the world and their relationships, and stop making up fancy stories like Lucifer. He doesn't exist in anybody. It's either you are a lover or you are a fearful one. I can call you a siren because you're going to, not do this, even though in your destructive mode you might think you're brilliant. You're not going to be. So the lion's self-mastery pursuits and the tiger's ease in darkness are your ability to put into practice mindfulness with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset, which gives you the deer's feminine nurturing essence. This is the most challenging part for people who had an inner child that wasn't safe. That's why Patrick Tan is important. Okay, so in balance with yourself, functional child adults, you are like your own mother. No more mother wounds, no more father wounds. Okay, this empowered feminine, empowered masculine. That's your body and mind alignment with a heart and a self. It's whole. You don't need the therapist to get that. You already got that. So you have healthy self-soothing in the forefront. Mind, not inner critic, outer critic. Body, not drinking, drugging, fucking, eating, da-da-da-da-da. You know music's important, your routine's important, and you have life to thank that allows you to get into being nudged. And that's with healthy self-worth people, because you don't heal trauma with the unhealthy ones. So in balance, you're loving, intuitive, graceful, receptive, compassionate, nurturing. When out of balance, you're concerned and protective, which I know all about, as I am a little perfectionist and perfectionist. But the twos become pushy and demanding. Yes, that's where we usually care about those around us. But thanks to me being a 1 and an 8, I got to balance things out. So Maria knows herself, and then also the PDP framework is a better gauge than this other stuff, but this other stuff integrated is really awesome. So when you know your physiological state, so fear dominates me, then anger, and then sadness, but really they're matured, and surprise, disgust, happiness, because I use my prefrontal cortex. Emotions last 90 seconds when you're using the prefrontal. Okay, that's why mindfulness allows you to do more integration, because you have the mindset skills and the inner growth mindset that I get to do in one-to-one mentorship, or the masterclass, or the workshops, retreats, and the video exercises for the paid subscribers. Okay, through the lion and the tiger, okay, the deer is able to maintain balance and pursue expansion out of balance. Okay, so thanks to these two people, meaning to your capacity to be in darkness, in awareness, and to pursue self-transformation and expansion, you say, okay, let me get out of being concerned and protective and into my balanced state, just in case we got lost, which is where from this and the opportunity that you just got. So thank your brothers and sisters of fear, because that's what happened. And thank the world for being in that dark matter, dark energy. Please don't implode. The world in general is unsafe. Just the asteroid not hitting us. So it doesn't have to. There's no Lucifer from the sky to be worried about. God always wins. I'm a messenger. And again, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. Forgive them, for they do not know. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. Turn the other cheek. Don't cast a stone. Very clear. Unconditionally loving, flaws and imperfection voice here. Empowered human voice. Use your prefrontal. And neuroscientist Patrick McNamara proves there's no demons in anyone, plus another bunch of smart individuals. So an idiot who says lack of imagination for evil is a person who needs the education, for their neuroplasticity has taken a hold of them with the dark sides, and they're shut in their shame, blame, fault, revenge without ever having healed their mama wound or papa wound, which is why they think that a secret attachment will spiral into anything. I don't spiral, and you better bet if I'm spiraling, it ain't with you because of your coldness and your assholishness, and you don't know how to treat my inner child with gloves. So you're out. That's it. You're out. Once you're out, you're out. You're not in, because you just showed me backhanded Cusco your betrayal, and I'm Pacha, and I ain't stupid, and I'm a human being, by the way, and I don't need to watch my fucking back. You showed me shame, blame, fault, revenge. Exile protectors, they need a therapist, not me. And they won't be treated like you were treated by your home, your unsafe environment. Because I'm not going to do unto you the unkindness. You see, spirituality, live a life of solo self beyond the solo self. I don't tell you, I don't prove intent. I allow you all to know this is exactly how it works. I ain't going to be a cold asshole bitch, and you can think I'm a bitch. I'm going to be okay, I'm not decent enough to be saluted, perfect, unhealthy, self-worth human being who doesn't know what it is to live life. And I am not going to say that. Doesn't mean, but he could go to therapy. And he thinks he taught me a lesson in common courtesy. And people said that I am too serious, instead of saying he has unhealthy self-worth. And then there's the others who exaggerate too, but let me leave it alone. So again, we do that which is have integrity. I'm going to stand and be the person that I want to be. In fact, again, personality patterns, learn about them. I fit to build the mature versions, and when I get into my little tired assholishness, I go to quiet time. So through this lovely lion and tiger and deer, you're able to maintain balance, pursue expansion out of whatever imbalances took place, and you rise from the ashes like a phoenix. So you're freeing yourself from suffering of the temporal junction. Hold on, let me put that tarantula down. Okay, as you move into your prefrontal cortex. That's the beauty and power of love and of your muscle. So you move out of karma, the unconscious stuff that people instead want to bring to the table and think they're being, again, brilliant. And you move into dharma consistently. And then the tarantula makes its way to you. And this tarantula basically means that life brings you to a crossroads, habits or routines from the past that sidetrack you from your life's purpose, your dreams, your inner balance and well-being. So you want to pay attention to the inner growth voice inside of you, your higher wisdom. That's the unconsciously loving voice with flaws and imperfections, neutrality and duality. The higher wisdom reminds you, like Dr. Daniel Fox said, it's normal to fall back on maladaptive patterns, but you spot it and you take charge of that. So you refocus your attention to continue pursuing inner balance, your state of eustress, and you get to choose to follow dharma instead of karma. Okay, so thank you, tarantula. You say yes to healthy self-soothing habits and mindset. You don't hesitate or over-intellectualize or get on your case about it. You, again, understand we all have siren. So that's the siren, the modulated, dysregulated embodiment, the maladaptive patterns, whether it's an inner or outer critic, you know yours, mine is sloppiness with exercises. And you say, yes, I'm going to get myself back on track, okay? And you don't allow yourself to think it's failure. It's a work in progress. That's why, again, so for secure attachment, it's easy. That's why, yes, we are emotionally invincible because we have our emotional body connected. We don't have fear, anger, sadness, fear, or disgust, or surprise, or happiness. And that's how easy it is. So My siren is small compared to the sirens that other can have, but once you understand we all have siren moments, you move back into your lover moment, become the lover view, the higher potential view, and you tap into that infinite higher human consciousness potential experience again. So the balance that life allows you to maintain through the tarantula coming your way involves your lion, tiger, and deer combination, which leads you to becoming that phoenix who rises from the ashes. You heal trauma with healthy self-worth people. And with those who are securely attached and non-traumatized, we don't do characterological distinctions. We will not have mother, father wounds or any kind of wound that we're projecting at you. And we're all very common sense and know about good therapists. So that's the part of why we choose to have mental, emotional, and physical mastery with mindfulness practices, thanks to our mindset skills and the inner growth mindset. And securely attached, self-led people, whether they got earned or they have without losing it, we're strong, brave, and bring change for the better because we embody intelligence, expand consciousness and self. Above all, we are functional child adults. Tune in for more. Be yourself mindfully with integrity. We'll be back again, maybe later, and if not, soon enough. Have a great one.